Let me say this clearly. Boundaries don't make you weak. They make you safe. They make you clear. They make you strong. And if someone only feels comfortable with you when you have no boundaries, they don't want connection. They want access. Hey y'all, welcome back to Steff's Signature Corner. In today's episode, we're talking about something that affects every relationship in your life, whether it's romantic, family, friends, work, even your relationships with yourself. I'm pretty sure you probably guessed it. And I want to say this up front. This episode is for women and men. Because women are often taught to overgive, overextend, and overexplain. And men are often taught to carry everything, suppress their emotions, and never ask for help. But guess what? Both end up exhausted. Both end up overwhelmed. And both end up feeling misunderstood. Not because they're weak, but because no one ever taught them that boundaries are allowed. Today, we're going to normalize boundaries. We're going to remove the guilt. And we're going to talk about how protecting your peace is actually a sign of emotional strength. Boundaries feel hard because many of us were raised to believe that love equals access. If I love you, I should always answer the phone. If I love you, I should always be available. If I love you, I should always say yes. If I love you, I should never disappoint you. But that belief system leads to burnout. Boundaries feel hard because we confuse them with rejection, selfishness, attitude, being difficult, or saying someone doesn't care. But boundaries are not a lack of love. They're a form of love, especially self-respect. A boundary simply says, this is what I can give without harming myself. Because we've talked about this before, how much you matter. And there's nothing weak about that. Remember, when boundaries are missing, something else always shows up. And when you don't have boundaries, you don't just lose time. You lose yourself. You lose your energy. You lose your patience. You lose your clarity. You lose your joy. You lose your peace. Women often become emotionally depleted because they're giving, they're fixing, they're nurturing. They're always holding a space for everyone else. But they forget about themselves. And men often become emotionally overwhelmed because they're carrying pressure. We talked about how pressure is heavy. They're carrying responsibility. They're carrying expectations. And guess what? They're carrying silence. And eventually, resentment shows up. You start feeling irritated with people you love. You start pulling away without knowing why. You start feeling tired all the time. Not because you're ungrateful, but because you're running on empty. Boundaries protect you from burnout. They keep relationships from being emotional labor. So now that we talked about all of that, I want to go and I want to address the biggest lie about boundaries. Some people think boundaries mean you're soft or sensitive or selfish. And that ain't true. Boundaries actually require emotional maturity, self awareness, courage, discipline, honesty. It takes strength to say, I can't do that. I'm not available right now. That doesn't work for me. I need respect. I need time. Instead of saying I can't do that, we overextend ourselves and we're like, yeah, I can get that done or I can do that. If you're not available and you're actually doing something, you're trying to clean your house or you're rearranging stuff or you're doing laundry and someone's like, oh my gosh, let's go hang out, blah, blah, blah. We want to go get drinks. We want to go do this. We want to go do that. It sets boundaries for you to say, hey, I would love to, but I'm not available right now. Or, hey, today doesn't work for me. It's okay to say those things. That's where you create that boundary and you let people know, like, hey, you can't do what you think you can do, or you can't expect me to always drop everything and come running and be right there. Now, for men, boundaries protect your mind, your purpose, your finances, and your emotional health. For women, boundaries, of course, protect your softness, your energy, and your peace. Weakness is doing what drains you to keep people comfortable. Strength is choosing what's healthy, even when it makes others uncomfortable. Sit in that. So, what do boundaries actually look like in real life? Because we talk about it and we say, oh, I've created boundaries, but what does that look like? So, let's talk about it. Boundaries don't have to be loud or aggressive, they just need to be clear. And here are some examples for both men and women when you think about those boundaries. Let's start with emotional boundaries. That's using maybe the terminology or the phrase. Let's say you're in an argument, right? Or you're having a discussion. Your comment to create that boundary is, I can talk about this, but not while you're yelling at me. Ooh, you just created a boundary, right? Hey, we could talk about this all day, but you're not going to yell at me. And I'm not going to talk to you while you're yelling. Another one is, I need to process before responding. And that's huge because a lot of times your emotions can lead or they can get in your way or they can cause frustration and you becoming irritated or aggravated. And you may respond in a way that you didn't mean to respond. So a lot of times, oftentimes, it's okay to sit there and say, hey, I need to process before responding. Because you need to break down what someone is telling you. And if you're responding just after what you've heard or with your emotions and your feelings, you you you're not creating that boundary. Another one is, I can support you, but I can't carry this for you. Meaning, let's say somebody's going through something personally, financially, or whatever the case may be. Like, hey, friend, I can support you, but I can't carry this for you because it's not yours to carry, it's theirs. But I'm here as a friend to support you. That's creating boundaries. So we talked about the emotional boundaries. Let's talk a little bit about time boundaries. Now, this one is huge for me, and I talk to my girlfriends about this all the time. When it comes to making plans, time boundaries are huge for me. Say it. Say it with your chest. I am not available last minute. No. I am not available last minute. It don't work like that. There may be times, transparently, where something may come up last minute and your friend or someone reaches out And they're like, hey, such and such happened. And I just, I know it's last minute, but I wanted to know, were you available? Or do you want to go? Or, those are different circumstances. But if somebody has like a party planned and they know that they got a party and you've heard about the party, and then Sally Sue calls you and is like, oh, I just wanted to invite you to my party tonight, or whatever the case may be. Hey, I appreciate the invite, but I'm not available last minute. Mm-mm. Also, you may hang out with people. And another boundary that I use is I need a day to reset. Like, I can't hang out with you day after day after day. I need a break for myself mentally. All right. So the next one, of course, is relationship boundaries. And these are phrases like, I'm not doing confusion, because I'm not. I don't operate in confusion. I'm not doing confusion. I need honesty and consistency. I won't stay in situations that drain me. And that one is huge, because a lot of times people be like, oh, but I love him. Oh, I love her, and this and all of these things. But you are emotionally drained. Girl, if you don't get somewhere, boy, if you don't get somewhere, I will not stay in situations that drain me, deplete me. I'm overstimulated. I'm exhausted. Nope, not doing it. This next one, family boundaries. It's okay to be like, hey, I love you, but I'm not discussing that. Because guess what? You may not be ready to discuss that, and it's okay. Put up your boundary. Hey, I love you, but I'm not discussing that. We're not going to talk about that. Also, I'm stepping back from the dynamic because I don't want to do this. Or it could be, let's say, something's happened and a decision is need to be made, or somebody's making a decision and you say out of your mouth, that decision isn't up for debate. Boom. That's you telling somebody, oh, you can't debate my decision because I'm standing firm on it. So if I say yes about something, if I say no, if I say I'm not doing that, that is my decision and it's final. You can't debate my decision because it's mine. That's a boundary. Another one that ties back into work boundaries is that time isn't realistic. A lot of times you're at work and people are like, hey, can you get this done by end of day today? And you want to say yes, or you try to say yes to someone, but hey, look at your calendar, observe your day. That time isn't realistic. I can't do that. Also, hey, I need clarity on priorities. You gave me 52 things to do. What's priority? All of it's priority. No, what is priorities? What's number 1, 2, 3, and 4? Because if I work on 12, 11, and 13, and 12, 11, and 13 aren't priority, but you want 1, 5, and 7. Well, I needed this. Well, you didn't clarify those. Now you're in this thing where I got all of this work and now I'm emotionally stressed out because somebody needed this, but I didn't clarify the priorities. I need to know what are priorities so I can work on that accordingly. And then we talked about, hey, I'll respond during business hours. Now, remember, boundaries don't attack people. They clarify expectations. So let's talk about the part that trips most people up when it comes to those boundaries, the guilt. And the guilt is real, especially if you're used to being the dependable one. If you're caring or if you're loyal, especially if you're an ISFJ personality type, meaning you're naturally protective, service-oriented, loyal, and you tend to put others before you put yourself. But being caring doesn't mean being careless with yourself, because this right here, I can't drop this bottle and break it. I am precious and I don't want to break me. So when you're setting boundaries, people may say, "You've changed." Okay. You're acting different. You're not the same person anymore. And guess what? Sometimes that's true because you're healthier now than what you were back then. Because back then you've allowed people to trample over you, knock you down, kick you. But now you're like, pause. We're not doing that. And here's the hard truth. Your growth may make people uncomfortable because they benefited from the version of you with no boundaries. But you don't need permission to protect yourself. It's you. Protect you. And for those who believe, or even if you're just curious, let's talk about boundaries and faith. Because God supports boundaries. Even Jesus withdrew from the people. Even Jesus rested. And he said no. He didn't even explain himself to everybody. And guess what? He's not impressed by your burnout. He's not asking you to carry everyone. He's not calling you for exhaustion. He calls you to wisdom, to stewardship, to peace. Protecting your boundaries is protecting what God is growing in you. Remember that. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Boundaries don't make you weak. They make you well. And with that, here's your challenge for the week. Identify one area where you need a boundary. I got my hands up like it's a shield around me. But I want you to identify one area where you need a boundary. Write the boundary in one clear sentence. Practice saying it without over-explaining or apologizing. You don't need no additional words in there. What's the boundary? Notice how your body will respond. Relief, guilt, peace. But I want you to pray or reflect on this. God, help me protect what you're building in me. Because guess what? You deserve peace. You deserve respect. You deserve relationships that honor your boundaries. I love y'all, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.